I'm Tom. This is Peter Waring, who has helped me as an energy consultant on doing energy efficiency and electrification upgrades, and he's going to help explain some of the improvements that we've done here. I've had this place for over 35 years. Originally, this was a one-room cabin with just a tiny bathroom, and to provide some expansion of area and comfort, this two-story addition was added. I've tried to do things honoring the origins of this place. Altogether, it was really the desire to make this a comfortable, cozy place to enjoy this beautiful environment. But also, I wanted to do what I could to help sustain the environment. As part of that effort, we planted native pollinating plants on the hillside here. It's a nice range of local natives. Ceanothus, yellow gum plant, coastal strawberries. Yeah, this is the point-raised silver tassel. Very, very local native. So let me show you around. For the addition, we used shiplap siding, which matched the old original building by reusing old salvaged wood from a Victorian in San Francisco that was torn down many years ago. Another priority was to get a good R value and to have a well-sealed envelope, R value being high insulation value. Sealing all the cracks on the old building and then on the new building. We also used double pane windows throughout the new construction, as well as replacing all the windows on the old building. And then we put rigid foam insulation on the exterior when we did the re-roof of the old building and the new roof. So you see we've got a fairly wide trim piece here where the roof has sandwiched underneath it the rigid foam insulation above the roof deck itself. All right, so let's come inside. We also took advantage of the fact that we had a very old acoustic tile ceiling, probably the original, the first kind they ever made. And we took it out and we exposed the open beams. Essentially, we have the open beam ceiling with insulation inside and rigid foam above it. Then we covered them with pine and then a double pane skylight there for some additional light. So another priority on the installation was the walls. And in order to accomplish that, we first took off the old paneling and then did sealing with caulk on the inside of the exterior shiplap as well, because again, it was pretty darn leaky. And then after the sealing, we put batt insulation inside of the inside framing, then a vapor barrier, and then put the original paneling back. And then after that, we put this fireplace brick, which helps retain heat. In addition to reusing the existing paneling, we also put in a maple floor, which we were able to recycle from an old gymnasium that was demolished. So here's the addition. We wanted to add to the potential to keep the place nice and cozy and retain heat well. And part of that whole approach was to do a passive solar design. All the double pane windows and their orientation and sizing is to optimize solar gain so that during the day we capture plenty of this solar that's available so much of the time. And then we have matched with that the proper amount of thermal mass that's made up of concrete and tile so that the thermal mass retains that heat that's gathered during the day and then radiates it back at night. And then with the place well insulated with extra thick walls with plenty of insulation, thorough sealing on the inside, it is really effective for capturing and retaining heat.
Having a tight envelope, meaning air sealed and good insulation, is the first thing you want to do, the low-hanging fruit. And then when it comes to windows, since they are expensive, you want to think twice and make sure you do the windows that count the most. In this case, we got the south and westward facing ones for solar heat gain. That's not always what you want. In other situations, you want to have a low solar heat gain.
This spiral staircase allows the space for heat to rise to the upstairs bedroom. So that's really nice, particularly for cool nights when the heat radiates up.
So once the addition was built and we were tight envelope, both air sealing and insulation, in the new addition, and in the older part of the house. Then Tom proceeded to electrify and replace his gas appliances with electric ones. So come take a look and we'll show them to you. One of the first things Tom did for electrification was to replace his gas propane-fired cooktop with induction heating. People are really catching on to how easy induction heating, how well it works. No matter whether you're cooking with gas or cooking with electricity, it's important to have a range hood because there are gases and grease and so forth that come off of your cooking process that you don't want to be breathing in. And it's important when you do a range hood to have it vented to the outside, and we can tell that that's the case here because we have this duct going right out to the wall. With the combination of the tight envelope and the passive solar, this place needs very little heat. And what Tom did was he switched off his gas heating and electrified using a heat pump. There's a compressor outside, and then there's a fan coil in here. And this one fan coil is enough to heat up the entire place, both the older single story, and because of the open stairway, the heat goes upstairs. Because of the sea breezes, Tom rarely uses his heat pump space conditioning for cooling, but there are occasional hot days when he does. And that's a nice thing about heat pump space conditioning. It gives you heating and it gives you cooling, and it does it, both of them, 3 or 4 or 5 times more efficiently than the best gas. Tom had a gas fireplace, and then he later switched over when he got his heat pump space conditioning to having a decorative fireplace here, which also has the option to provide a little bit of heat. Back over here is where the vent of the original wood-burning fireplace stood over here with its vent going to the roof.
So as part of the overall energy efficiency effort, of course, we wanted to also take care of one of the simple measures of reducing lighting energy use. Today we have really significant advances in LEDs. For example, now they have bulbs that mimic the old style, which work well in, for example, this Lincoln style, old vintage, or this stained glass. The new LEDs work well in just about any type of situation.
In general, when you go for LED, you're going to have a bulb that lasts 10 times as long and uses 1/10 the electricity, so it's a great deal.
So an additional item as part of electrification was to replace the gas hot tub with an electric one. All right, so there's solar on the top of the west-facing and also south-facing roof of the addition. And here's where the solar ties into the equipment, the inverter, and then also right here is where the charger is for electric vehicle.
So one of Tom's plans for the future is to do battery backup to go along with the PV. And the advantage of that is, A, when the PG&E grid goes down, he's going to still have power, and B, he can use that energy that he stored up during the daytime at night.
So thanks for visiting my home. And it feels good to honor this beautiful environment by doing what I can to sustain it. And here's a little reminder from Dante. Nature is the art of God.